You know what time it is. Prediction Markets Edge right here on the early line. It's Donnie Rightside and it's Joe Ranieri. We got you covered on all the latest ways to invest your money, even if you don't think some of those options are out here, Joe. We like to teach the people there are better ways sometimes to invest your money, right?
Always options, Donnie, and that's what the prediction markets give you is options and leverage outside of what you're usually used to betting on.
Absolutely. And we start today, Joe, in the association. It's Phoenix heading east to take on the Orlando Magic. If you look at the Kalshi marketplace right now, Orlando currently with a 52% chance to win this basketball game outright. And Phoenix, the underdog, currently at 48%. If we look at the spread in this one, if Orlando wins by 3.5 points or more, currently trading at 45 cents, Joe, which means a $100 investment would pay back $223, and the total sitting at $224.5. Phoenix, Orlando tonight.
Well, Suns coming off a win last night, rather easy win, in fact, against the Memphis Grizzlies. Booker with another monster night, 36 points in that one. Again, the Suns and Orlando, Eastern Conference, Western Conference, very much trying to jockey for position in the play-in tournament. So this is a big game for both of these teams. But Orlando, over the last month, Donnie, has been absolutely horrific. They are basically playing themselves into the bottom of the play-in games coming up, and that's not a good situation. To get blown out by, 50-plus points last game by Toronto is not good here. I would want to make sure that Booker is playing on the second of a back-to-back, but there is no reason to think that somehow Orlando is just going to flip a switch and become this team that all of a sudden is going to be able to boat race teams. I think it's a dead under. Phoenix plays defense, and Orlando can't score. So I think the unders are in play here tonight.
If you want to ride with Devin Booker there to go for another 30-point effort tonight, Joe, a $100 investment would pay back $250 there. Let's keep it in the association. You know me, Joe. I just told you. I like the Toronto squad here taking on the Detroit Pistons here. Let's go Raptors. If we're looking at the numbers, Detroit favorite at 56% as a chance to win this basketball game outright. Toronto at 44%. But if we're looking at the number here and you feel that the Pistons can cover by 3.5 or more, currently trading at 47 cents here. So a $100 investment would pay back $213. And also, you can use that slider, Joe, either way. But tonight, Toronto is a slight underdog against those Detroit Pistons.
Yep, Brandon Ingram questionable. Quigley has already been ruled out. So is Jamison Battle for Toronto. And everybody who missed the game last night, which is just about all the starters for the Detroit Pistons that are not on the injury report as of yet here, Donnie. But this line is telling you maybe, just maybe, there's going to be a few more guys that are opting not to play in this game for Detroit. It's a huge game for Toronto. Much more important for Toronto, who's trying to stay out of the play-in game, Donnie, tonight, than it is for Detroit, who's pretty much solidified itself as the number one seed there. So, yeah, Toronto had themselves a whole lot of points last game against Orlando. They seem to be shooting it really, really well. Motivated Toronto team means likely an over, I think, here tonight as well in this game.
And you take a look here, if you expect a big game from Scotty Barnes tonight, 20-plus points or more, Joe, currently trading at 42 cents here, which means a $100 investment pays back $239. A game you like tonight, Joe, or maybe you don't, because nobody will be up for this one. The Portland Trail Blazers taking on the Los Angeles Clippers out there in Clipperland tonight. If we're taking a look at some of the options here, Joe, 51% I'm seeing right now, as we are trading for the Clippers as the slight, it looks like the Clippers there's a favorite. Actually, you know what, Joe? I'm reading this maybe incorrectly at this point. This is an interesting one here. So I'm going to swing this over to you. Portland versus the Clippers here. Go ahead.
Yeah, Portland lane opened up as a 5-point dog here in L.A. The Clippers now have been bet up to around 6, and it continues to go that way. Why? Well, I'm looking at the Clippers injury report, and it's non-existent. So Kawhi's not on it. Nobody seems to be on it right now. But Jeremy Grant has already been ruled out for this game against the Clippers. This is important because both of these teams are almost in a dead heat for that 7 and 8 seed in the play-in tournament, which is going to be big. So 5 in a row for the Clippers. Donnie, I don't see any reason to get in front of this Clipper train at home here tonight. It would be Clippers or nothing for me in this one. And I would look for Kawhi Leonard to do Kawhi Leonard things, maybe over in his prop, in his points market as well.
Yeah, something's a little bit wonky at this point. Sometimes they do go a little bit off on Kalshi because I'm showing Joe 51% for the Clippers. Here's the favorite, and also 47% for the Clippers as the underdog in this one. Go figure that one out. But let's go over to Major League Baseball. On the diamond we go, Joe. Boston Red Sox in town, game number 2 to take on the Houston Astros. We saw yesterday Boston come to town and say, hey, we should be able to handle this. Watch Ranger Suarez handle his business. Wasn't the case. Houston absolutely rocked them. And tonight, Boston still trading as the favorite to win this game outright at a 54% chance. You take a look at Houston, currently trading at 46% here tonight, Joe.
Yeah, Lance McCullers last night pitched 7 innings for the first time, Donnie, since 2022 and dominated this Boston lineup. What in the world are we going to get from Hunter Brown in this spot here? Probably a lot of strikeouts. And I think, listen, 9 strikeouts last night is what we had from McCullers. I don't see any reason not to look at the strikeout prop for Hunter Brown here tonight because Boston clearly doing a lot of swinging and missing these days.
Yeah, by the way, Boston yesterday, only 1 run, Joe, 4 hits total here. And you take a look at that Houston lineup, 8 runs on 13 hits. Now, also on some of these predictive markets, Joe, similar to what you get on sports books, popular bets are still here as well. The Yerfie and the Nerfie. Yes, run in the first inning. No run in the first inning. If you feel there will be a run in the first inning tonight of this game, Joe, a $100 investment would pay back $233. And if you look last night, Houston did score a run in the first inning yesterday. Some of the other options that we certainly like to take a look in these marketplaces. One of the better series that we think is going to continue, and it was low scoring last night, 2-1. The Yankees came to Seattle, Joe, undefeated on the Major League Baseball season. They left last night with a loss, looking to bounce back tonight. Yankees and the Mariners currently, it's a close one here. The Yankees and or Seattle, depending on when you're shopping, you see the graphic, 51% for Seattle. Right now live, 51% as a favorite for the Yankees here. Another close battle tonight up in the Pacific Northwest, Joe.
Yeah, we saw some overnight money come back in on Seattle as the walk-off win last night for them. But these are 2 aces going at it. Logan Gilbert has been, the go-to guy for Seattle for a while now. Max Fried coming off a great opening win there to start the season against the Giants. It's kind of hard to look at anything except unders in this game here, Donnie, and that's exactly where I would look. Team totals under, and even early on, because both bullpens got work last night, so maybe an under in the first 5 could be in play as well.
Now, let me understand this too, Joe, because more marketplaces open up in more different ways to invest your money. So I'm looking at Kalshi right now. Did you know tonight, Joe, for this game, you do have a props mention market. Now, understand this. They're playing in Seattle, Joe. The place is called T-Mobile. And for T-Mobile to be mentioned tonight, yes, it is expensive here at 89 cents, $100 investment, payback $113. But at what point in the telecast they're not going to say, live from T-Mobile Park in Seattle, it's the Yankees. It feels like that's going to lead off at this point. And also, Joe, this might be expensive as well. 95% this is currently trading at. To use the words MVP from the announcers, $100 investment pays back $106. Oh, it's not worth my investment here. You don't think that they're going to say last year's MVP race between Rowley and Aaron Judge? I'm telling you right now, Joe, there are some markets you need to get involved in here, no?
And the mention markets are always gold, Donnie, because they're just turn and burn, right? There are some things that you just can't fathom them not saying in these broadcasts. And yeah, you can even go down the list a little bit further, and there's a good chance, Donnie, you can find something in that 70 to 80 cent range that will absolutely be touched on during this game.
No doubt about it, too. We talk so much, Joe, also about the ABS system. And yes, it is expensive here, but they're not offering a market just yet. But it looks like there is a challenge one. That means if one pitch is challenged with the ABS, they're going to say challenge at this point. Boy, we are uncovering gems left and right on Prediction Markets Edge on the early line. This is what we do, people. Let's bring it back next segment as well. Stay tuned.
I wait until I get the tournament bracket. Then you'll see me start to talk about who makes a run, who's right to get picked off. You go back to last year, look at St. John's, right? They were on a roll. They got Arkansas, who was a better version of St. John's.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
You know, you don't usually get Alabama basketball booked at less than 160. You're getting that now here. The real question is Aiden Holloway done for the tournament for an Alabama team who, you know, we've seen under Nate Oates, they're more than capable of getting themselves to a Sweet 16 and Elite 8 and maybe even beyond that.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
9+ sounds pretty good here, Donnie, at around even money, right?
Ooh.
I got no problem there, trading at 54 cents. And again, all the pressure is on the higher seeds and the favorites, right? Start getting into that 4 or 5 minute mark in the second half, and you're down double digits. Some teams, it does not get better, Donnie. They don't pull themselves up off the court.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
NBA Central sent out a tweet yesterday. Hornets announcer Eric Collins says Jalen Duren is one of his favorite players to watch. Quote, I like talking about that body of his cut up like coleslaw, end quote. Interesting.
Yeah. Not quite sure what the reference to coleslaw is. No idea, Donnie. I have no idea.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Right back out of here on Prediction Markets Edge on the Early Line, uncovering some gems here in Major League Baseball. So why not, Joe Ranieri, flip it over to the hard court here, which this weekend is going to be the Final Four. And we take a look. The number 3 seed, Illinois, taking on the number 2 seed, UConn. And then we have a battle of number 1 seeds here in game number 2, Michigan and Arizona. So in the Kalshi Marketplace here, Joe, how about this question? Sum of seeds in the men's college basketball championship game. 3, 4, 2, however you want to bet it here. Now understand this. Obviously, you can't get 2. It's a no, so you can't bet on it. But you can get 3 and 4, which means the combination of if Illinois plays Michigan, that's 4. If UConn plays Michigan and or Arizona, that is 3, Joe. So the question, are we getting the sum of seeds 4 or 3 for you here to invest in?
So do we think UConn is winning or do we think Illinois is winning is basically the question here. So if that's the case, if we're looking at that route, then you're looking at this is just another market, Donnie, to supplement what you think is going to happen in that game. If you like, and here's how I would work it and why the predictive markets are so much fun, is that if I'm betting Illinois on the money line at the sports book, Donnie, then I'm likely also betting Illinois to win it all. Why? Because if they beat UConn, then I'm going to the championship market, and whatever price they are now, which I think is around 18 cents, they're going to be at least a 35, 40 cent jump from that particular point. And this market as well, Donnie, what is it going to be? Well, if I'm already betting Illinois, I've got multiple ways to cash with Illinois not only beating UConn, but making it to the national championship game.
Absolutely here. Agree with you. And by the way, sum of 4 seeds here currently at a 54% chance. A $100 investment would pay back $182 if you do get Illinois to win that, because that automatically would make it 4 because 1 and 1, Michigan and Arizona, are playing in the other bracket here. How about the seed to win the men's college basketball championship? Which again, Joe's just saying, you're basically picking the team out here. If you want the 1 seed, you get 2 teams here involved in it. 2 for the price of 1, Michigan and Arizona. But that also is trading at a 69% chance. So it's not as if you're going to get an underdog price there. Number 2 seed here, which means you'd be betting UConn, trading at 13%. Number 3 seed, which is Illinois, that currently trading at 18% here, Joe. Just another optic window to take a look at, maybe betting who you think is going to win outside of, hey, if I take the number 1 seed, I know for a fact on Monday night, I got a dog in the race.
And again, multiple bets here looking to accomplish the same thing, Donnie, right? If I think Michigan beats Arizona and Michigan wins the national championship, then I'm likely just rolling over their money line, right, when it's all said and done. But I'm also investing, and I think it's right now, Donnie, to win the national championship, That market is around 34 cents for Michigan right now. Well, listen, if they end up playing UConn, Michigan is going to be a much bigger favorite over UConn than they are over Illinois, which means I've got more money to be able to make there in that national championship market because the percentage is going to be higher. Same situation in here. Whatever you think is going to happen and who's going to win these next couple of games, there are multiple markets like this for you to be able to invest in and have multiple markets working for you.
Another option here for a 2 for the price of 1. We just talked about it. If you bet the number 1 seed, Joe, you get 2 teams here, Michigan and Arizona, guaranteed to be playing in the national championship game. This would be a little bit different here. How about the conference to win men's college basketball's championship here, which the Big Ten is trading at 53%. Why? Well, they have 2 teams left. Illinois is a 3 seed and Michigan has a number 1 seed. The Big 12, which means obviously you'd be betting on Arizona. And then the Big East, you'd be betting on UConn here, Joe. Any swings for you at taking the Big Ten with 2 teams or, again, looking at the Big 12 or the Big East, which are just singular teams?
Same bet, Donnie, different market, right? If I'm back in Arizona, then I am likely betting Big 12 in this particular market, right? I'm betting Arizona over Michigan, and I'm betting Arizona over whoever else. A lot of different ways to approach this, but the beautiful thing is, Donnie, right? Whatever price you're investing in now in those markets, if you say the Big 12, Donnie, and Arizona wins, right? There you go. Arizona is going to be in the national championship game, which means the price that you're getting in that market right now for the conference is going to be higher than it was that you're buying into it. So you don't necessarily have to have Arizona winning everything or Michigan winning everything or UConn or Illinois. You just need to buy low enough to make it worth it when they win on Saturday and advance to the national championship game.
Illinois, UConn game number 1, Michigan, Arizona game number 2. And if we have another outlet that you can use here on Kalshi, Joe, how about player points here? Not asking for individual players, but giving you the players as a collective to score 40-plus points, 45-plus points, or even 50 points. Now, for me, you look at game number 1, a little bit lower total, 139.5. But game number 2, 157.5. That's where more points are expected. But I got to tell you, Joe, I'm not expecting any players to go near 40 or 45 points. And some people say, oh, you can't. Lay the juice and stuff like that. Stop the madness here. For any player to score 45 points or more, Joe, a $100 investment pays back 106. That's a stupid wager. Somebody can get it. Nobody's scoring 45 points here, Joe, in the remaining parts of this tournament here. I don't believe it.
No, they're not, Donnie. And listen, we just saw some monster efforts in that UConn and Duke game. I mean, Reed and Boozer alone, and they didn't sniff 40 points here. There's too much. All these teams are all very similar, these Final Four teams. They all have a ton of size. They all like to play from the inside out. There's going to be a lot of guys in the paint. Look at the totals, Donnie. Those totals in these games do not scream, we're going to get a 45-point effort from one guy on one of these teams. That's not how it works in college.
Exactly. Take a look at the pros, 233.5, 235.5. Those guys struggle to get 40 and 45 points. And also understand this, too. You're looking at elevated levels here, which means you're going to be playing in a monster football stadium in front of the biggest stage in the world. And a lot of times, most of these kids now are 18 and 19, no longer 6-year seniors at 24 and 25 years old that will be playing in this. So in the next question, Joe, team to score the most points in the semifinals. The favorite right now slightly is Arizona at 38% as a chance. Then you have Michigan at 37%. Then the drop-off, Illinois and UConn. And by the way, UConn only trading at 13% to be the team that scores the most points in the semifinals. Doesn't include the finals, Joe, just the final 4 games.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because Michigan and Arizona you would look to, right, as the 2 teams that win it. But keep in mind, Michigan shoots the 3. Arizona doesn't. Arizona is not a prolific 3-point shooting team. They love to score their points in the paint. You ain't doing that necessarily against Michigan. So I think Arizona's out. I think Michigan is the correct answer.
By the way, if you think that you want to go contrarian here with UConn currently trading at 11 cents, a $100 investment pays back $910 to be the team that scores the most points in the Final Four. Back after this short break.
I wait until I get the tournament bracket. Then you'll see me start to talk about who makes a run who's right to get picked off. You go back to last year, look at St. John's, right? They were on a roll. They got Arkansas, who was a better version of St. John's.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
You know, you don't usually get Alabama basketball booked at less than 160. You're getting that now here. The real question is Aiden Holloway done for the tournament for an Alabama team who, you know, we've seen under Nate Oates, they're more than capable of getting themselves to a Sweet 16 and Elite 8 and maybe even beyond that.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
9+ sounds pretty good here, Donnie, at around even money, right? I got no problem there, trading at 54 cents. And again, all the pressure is on the higher seeds and the favorites, right? Start getting into that 4 or 5 minute mark in the second half, and you're down double digits. Some teams, it does not get better, Donnie. They don't pull themselves up off the court.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
NBA Central sent out a tweet yesterday. Hornets announcer Eric Collins says Jalen Duren is one of his favorite players to watch. Quote, I like talking about that body of his cut up like coleslaw, end quote. Interesting.
Yeah. Not quite sure what the reference to coleslaw is. No idea, Donnie. I have no idea.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Prediction Markets Edge, a little fun here in Major League Baseball. AL, NL Rookie of the Year. We'll start in the AL, Joe. And, you know, look, people get their first looks at some of these players and doing some damage early. You want to invest some money in them. Kevin McGonigal for Detroit. Absolutely outstanding opening weekend. Chase DeLauder hitting home run after home run after home run. And even Murakami of the Chicago White Sox getting off to a great start. He's currently trading at 18 cents as a chance. But these players will go up and down. But you see that surge early on. Why? Just give him 3 or 4 games. That guy's going to hit 40 bombs. No, he's not. But just looks that way. Who would you invest in, Joe? McGonigal, Lauder, Murakami, or, hey, man, let's let this market settle in and take a longer shot here?
Yeah, listen, I mean, even at 27, 28 cents that we're looking at right now here, Donnie, the reality is it's a buy enough low price. If you truly think it's a market where I would invest in not just one, but maybe 2 guys at this price point, because if they have the kinds of years that we think they're going to have, then yes, I would think in a couple of months, Donnie, by the time we get to the dog days of summer, you might have a double your price here, a 2x, maybe even a 3x investment working your way with DeLauder and McConaughey, who, let's face it, right off the bat, Donnie, these guys are here to stay. And there's nothing wrong with buying in at this price and just forgetting about it. Let it play out now, Donnie.
Exactly. And then we take a look at the NL here. J.J. Weatherholt of the St. Louis Cardinals here currently trading at 20% right now. But a lot of these guys, including pitchers, will be getting their first looks. The reason I say that is the Phillies are going to have Andrew Painter pitching tonight and making his rookie debut, currently trading at 6%. He has a good start, Joe. He moves up the ladder. If he doesn't, he moves slightly lower. So you're going to get a lot of volatility, Joe, in these markets early on to start the season.
Yes, and again, the more hype they have, the more early success they have, the more this market will rise. So it's a market that don't expect 48-hour, 72-hour turnaround, and don't expect that, all right, he lost this game, and now all right, I got to get out of it. Let it play out, because you're right, Donnie. These guys put a string of wins together, or hits, or games. This market very much could very volatile, but also the ability for it to go through the roof quickly is very possible throughout the season.
Exactly. Just take a look at Dylan Cease here in the AL Cy Young race here for the Toronto Blue Jays. Strong effort there. He's up to now 14% as a chance to win that award. Garrett Crochet, very good in his opening start at 21%. And there's always going to be Tarek Skubal trading at 23%. Very good to start his season as well. Same old up top here, Joe. But Dylan Cease looks to be that big mover early on.
Yeah, it does. And again, you want to, choose some guys that are going to, or have been there, have done that before. Max Fried. being the number one on a team like the Yankees, who is expected to compete for a championship. Yeah, though, center around those guys, and I don't know how you go wrong with Scooble. I really don't. It feels like if it ain't broke, don't fix it at this point, Donnie.
NL Cy Young, maybe a buy low option you might not think you would have had this early in the season. That's Paul Skeens. Got lit up. Wasn't really his fault. He has a 67 ERA right now. Still the favorite, tied with Yamamoto at 24%, but also down 6% from his high. Yamamoto, a big mover at 10% here. Christopher Sanchez was dominant on opening day. And then there's the Miz from Milwaukee, Joe, up 5% to 9% after his quality start opening day there for the Brew Crew.
I mean, listen, all of those guys are legit considered. There's only, 3 of them within the 20-cent mark right now, and that's Yamamoto, Skeens, and Sanchez there. And I think they're just going to keep jockeying for position there at 1, 2, and 3, Donnie. But again, it's a market where I don't see a lot of craziness happening here. Injuries, obviously, are a concern this early. But I think if all goes well, those 3 guys are going to be at the top of this list when it's all said and done come August and September anyway.
Let's get to a hot topic here across the nation, Joe. Doesn't have to deal with Major League Baseball, college basketball, or anything else. How high will U.S. gas prices get this year? We are feeling the pinch here in New Jersey. Yesterday was up to $4.20, which we don't have a lot of tax here as many other states do, Joe. But, states like California, the national average, how high can it go? Got to be at least $5 a gallon for me right now, and that's currently trading at 77% right now. Doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon, Joe.
Yeah, I think I think below $6 as a national average is not a bad look at 67 cents, because I do not see it getting above $6 on average, Donnie. Don't see that happening.
That means in California, like $20 per gallon at this point. Understand this too, Joe, because Joe knows the market works, and so do I. This is an unfair practice. We already have the gasoline in the country. Why is it raising now? Because of something that might not be here in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, or 5 months. We got to get that under wraps. Gas should still be low right now until there is a crisis, but you get gouged every which way you have. And, Joe, if we get an average of $6 gas here, you're going to find a lot of people biking to work in the big city and outliers there. That'll do it for the show. Prediction Markets Edge here on a Tuesday. We'll be back Wednesday for Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. Ain't this fun? See you tomorrow.
It's not sustainable. Pitches throwing too hard and not being healthy, so that don't benefit anybody as well. So it's better to, if a guy throwing 97, why not just throw 94, 93 and learn how to pitch? And then you can last longer. So it's more about keeping the product, on the field and being on a consistent basis.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
What about the expansion stuff?
Yeah, but doesn't it make a lot of sense, Kev? So but it's 28-29. He's already talked about, I'm playing in the Olympics in 2028. Retirement isn't on KD's mind right now. Play in the Olympics in 2028, and then a 2029 season, play where it all started, baby. Seattle.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
If you could argue UConn's more overseeded than, like, the idea that UConn was battling for a 1 seed, quite frankly, never made any of sense to me when you look at where their metrics were stacked.
UConn will be great as long as they don't play St. John's, apparently, in the tournament. They're good to go there. But you put them at a 5, Kevin. Now here we go again, like last year, Bill Self versus Rick Pitino.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball announced yesterday that they will be having a partnership this season with a company that we've come to be very familiar with over the last 6 months. Polymarket is the exclusive prediction market partner of Major League Baseball and the only platform allows to use teams, logos, and marks, representing the latest pro league to embrace the prediction markets.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.